Okay, so the question goes like this. Fellas, what was the fuck this? I'm out on the first date. Okay, so we're gonna read the responses, and I think this is actually a really good thing to observe because if you have any of these red flags, you want to be careful because guys pay attention to this. These are the behavior that transcends how you look. All right. So look, um, date wouldn't stay off her cell phone on a date, even after I asked her to. I paid for our food and left her at the restaurant an hour away from where we lived. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, that's crazy. Edit, women can share their yep, that's it moment. Okay. She bragged to me that she used to hit her boyfriend in the face. Oh my God. Yeah. If a woman tell people, the problem, the reason why people overlook red flags is because they think that it won't happen to them. But what you don't know is that it's not about who you are and more about their patterns. If they hit someone once, they will hit them again. Um, I was just I was just like, I'm auditioning to be your boyfriend, right? And left. She was the scum of the earth. Invited her to the theater and a nice meal, trying to give her some conversation while she was on her phone the whole time. Then in the subway, she sits next to me, still texting, and I can't avoid looking at her phone. She was planning sex with another guy for the same night. Let me give you guys a story, right? Oh my God, I don't know which one to pick. Um, let's keep reading. It happened to me last year. It was weird. I worked as his special ed teacher. I'm in my mid-30s, single, no children. I have my time and space. She asked me out several times. The last time I said, okay, let's give it a shot. 45 minutes of that date, she spent half of that time talking to her about her children, what they need, and how I should take care of them and what I should do. Half time, she ranted about how men are terrible and they are nothing but sex fueled monster, and she is sick of us. So I basically paid for the drink and said, I don't think that would work. Oh, the anger. My story is it was actually before the pandemic. I met this girl and she told me meet her in front of a CVS. It was 9 p.m., right? This TVS was closed, mind you. This is in Harlem, in Manhattan, and it was nighttime. And then when I was walking to the CVS, I noticed the CVS was closed, and it was like dark in that area. And I was like, "Oh shit!" And then I saw one of the CVS workers, like I guess that the girl got out, so she was waiting for her ride. And then I text her. I was like, "Hey, well, where you at?" She was like, "I'm here," and I'm like, "No, I see a girl who just got out of CVS." And then she was like, "Oh, hey," and I was like, "Oh, that's not a CVS worker, bro." She legit was wearing um this like this fucking workout clothes and a pink the pink sweaters, right? I mean, she looked like she just got out of bed. And it was like a Friday night. We were gonna go get drinks at this really nice bar. And I'm like, all right, okay, whatever. She's from the Bronx, I guess. Okay, whatever. So we go out and 2 minutes into our walk, because we were walking to the bar, she gets a phone call. And she starts talking. And she was like, my fault, my fault. I gotta finish this call. And I was like, okay, cool, no problem. I'm like, all right, whatever, it's no big deal. And then when we got in, she was like, "Can you go inside and wait for me here? Can you go inside because I gotta finish this phone call. It's only 10 minutes." I'm like, "All right, cool. Look, man, I get it, right? Like sometimes I have phone calls to make." Um, and then when she was I was waiting inside. 15-minute passes, 20-minute passes. She comes in. She was like, "My fault." And I'm like, "All right, cool, man. You ready?" She was like, "Cool." And then she was like, "By the way, in 30 minutes, I gotta make another 20-minute phone call." And then another one later on. And I'm like, and it's hard to put into words her vibe. It was almost like she didn't like she just like we could have scheduled a date right when you were done with all your calls, right? And I was like, she was like, no, because I have to be somewhere else. I'm like, so I got the shitty phone call moments. I didn't tell her that. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, look, my love, look, man, this may not work out. You're really beautiful, honestly, like you really are, but it just doesn't feel right. You're on the phone this whole time, and like, what are we doing? She was like, okay, that's fine. She was like, and she was like, okay, that's fine. I'm like, all right, okay, cool. And I left. I'm like, clearly it didn't hurt her. Like, she didn't care. It's kind of crazy, man. Some people legit, like, I don't know. All right, let's keep reading. In my mid 20s, I connected with a girl on Tinder. She would have that's a red flag. She would have a few combos. Then I proposed meeting up for coffee or drinks after work. She was interested, but suggested trying this restaurant and grabbing dinner instead. Okay, look, you see, I'll be honest with you. I don't mind that, but it's just it's just the temerity to change it up. You get what I mean? Like, if a guy asks you for dinner, don't say let's do dinner. I mean, if a guy asks you for drink, don't say let's do dinner because you look bad. It's a double standard, but you do look bad. At the dinner, she immediately ordered two appetizers, two entrees because she was excited to try a few things out. She spent an entire night talking about her company, almost like a sales pitch, and nothing about herself and anything from me. I paid the bill with no objection from her. While she boxed up all the leftover to take home, bitch, you ain't taking no leftovers with me. I'm taking that leftover. Didn't hear from her again after that. That happened once where a girl said, let's go out. We went for drinks and she was like, hey, you want to go get tacos? And I was like, nah, man, like I forgot what happened, but I was like, nah, I don't want tacos. And then she finished the date early. And then she was like, hey, you want to hang out again? I was like, sure. And then when I went to her place, she was like, let's go get tacos. And I'm like, okay, cool, I have time for tacos. We went tacos. She was like, let's go back to my place quickly. And I'm like, oh, okay. And she was like, wait downstairs. I'll be back. She never came back. She really wanted those tacos, people. um, I paid a bill with no objection. I didn't realize till later the trend of people using dating apps to get free meals. In hindsight, I wish I'd left in the middle of the date, but I was more confused at the time than anything else. Yeah, definitely had my guard up. You see it, and it's like women like this ruin it for good women. She told me some friends were coming over with cocaine, and since they didn't know me, I needed to leave. Oh shit. God damn. You didn't specify. This was almost 10 years ago. I lived in Denver. Met a girl at an art festival one weekend. We chatted and hit it off. I asked if she wanted to grab coffee and beer one evening. We had a few beers at a brewery in my neighborhood. Thought she was awesome. I met a few, and I was meeting friends later that night at a concert. So I asked this girl if she wanted to join us. She said yes, came to my house to hang out for an hour or so before we were going to leave to the show. While we were on my back deck, she casually pulled out a meth pipe and asked if I got down. Oh shit. God damn. Never noped out of something so fast in my life. She was an art student at a really good college in Denver. She seemed so normal, so nice the whole day until that happened. Wild. Yeah. If somebody pulls out a crack pipe around me, man, we're done, girl. Um, the girl I was acquaintance with asked me when I was going to ask her out and laughed and told her never. The reason was months earlier she was at a party and I watched her make fun of a really sweet guy who was short to his face. She was sweet and kind, but whenever he walked away, she made it out like dealing with him was the biggest burden she had to bear. She tried to get me to make fun of him, and I was too disgusted. Good for you, bro. It was just mean. Don't get me wrong, she was hot. Wait, but nothing is more unattractive than being a fucking bully for no reason. I kind of have a general rule that if I see a woman being mean to a guy who doesn't deserve it for their own amusement, that can kind they can kindly fuck off. It says a lot about their character and more accurate their lack of character. Next one, she kicked my cat. You don't fuck with that. Oh shit, she kicked the cat. Okay, fuck her. Next one. Usually it's when people only want to talk about themselves or who just can't reciprocate a conversation. I get it. Small talk can be tedious, but we communicate a lot more in small talk than we realize. Like, unless you're in Sweden, right? Or Denmark or one of those places that they don't do small talk. People identify if they can trust you, learn how you communicate. If you can't carry on small stakes conversation, most folks will move on. I don't agree with that. Yeah, I don't agree with that. Um, my red flag on dates is that I honestly I think this is a red flag is that I prefer to hear your story than me talk. I don't know why. Like I truly prefer to hear. I don't like talking about myself on dates. I really don't. Like I'll prefer to talk about to hear her than me or him. No, I'm kidding. um, yeah, it's crazy, bro. I mean, it's wild. Okay, last one. I went to a party as a guest of a lady who lived at a church related boarding house at the university we both attended. During a group conversation, she and some of the girls who lived in the house started making fun of a math professor from a class that a couple of them were taking. He had bad diabetes, was blind. He had a bilateral below knee amputation and taught class in a wheelchair. That's crazy. You know what's crazy, people? People who get a limb cut off, they have 10 years to live. Like if you get your arm cut off, you will die in approximately 10 or 15 years. Yep. It's wild as shit. Kind of crazy. I know. You wouldn't expect that. They started laughing about how ridiculous he looked while teaching class and acted out scenarios of him trying to work out problems on a backboard. I'll be honest with you. This is why when I get older, if I become like invalid and I can't walk, the people who make fun of me, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. If you make fun of me, I'm not even going to feel bad. Because I feel worse for you that you have to make fun of a person who can't walk. Like, in fact, that's almost like you're able to see who's the ass, who's a good person, who's not. Like, that's wild, man. They did not know that I knew the professor, as he was a member of the church that I went to, and I thought of him as fairly heroic under the circumstances. While the girl who had asked me to party started in on merrymaking, I walked out the room, got my coat, and we left the party. Let me give you a story. This is honestly one of the most respectable things I've ever heard in my life. In art school, we started. There was this classmate who we found a Tinder photo of him dressed as a woman, and mind you, he was from California and the Tinder profile that they found was in Denver, Colorado. And that photo wasn't a Tinder profile. It was just a coincidence. Like our friend was literally in the background just dressed as a woman. And and one of our classmates found it, but you got to understand how astronomical coincidental that is, right? And he was like, "Oh my god, dude, look what I found!" And we're like, "What are you talking about?" We're like, "Dude, that we're gonna call him John. That looks like John." And I'm like, "Oh my god, that's fucking John. That's our classmate." And we started laughing, but we started laughing when we were drunk, and two because it was just insane. We were like, "Dude, that's crazy!" Like the laughter was a laughter out of like shock. Well, his friend was there, and he was quiet. The guy that found the photo, his name was Jacob. He found it, and he told Jacob, he was like, "I don't fucking like that shit. Y'all are making fun of him, and that's my friend. I don't like you guys talking about my friend like that." And everyone was quiet. We were like, "Oh shit." We were like, and he was like, I don't appreciate that. And Jacob was like, "My fault, dude. I didn't mean that. I didn't mean to offend you." And he was like, "Well, I just don't like it." He was serious. Like he wasn't breaking attention. And that to me, I was like, "Yo, that's a man who deserves respect right there." Because he's standing up for his friend. And I feel bad. I was like, man, I should have not done that too. I should have not laughed. Like I didn't know how it was coming across from somebody else's point of view, you know? Um, yeah, they started laughing. Yeah. I remember when I was young, like nobody ever laughed at my accent when I was a kid. Because I had a really thick Dominican accent when I was younger. But I remember in eighth grade, no, ninth grade, we were in reading class. And there was this black girl who was laughing at my accent. Like it wasn't like fun, making fun. It was the fact that she was laughing uncontrollably. And I remember, like, I'm like, I remember asking my teacher, myself, I'm like, yo, teacher, why don't you tell this fucking bitch to shut the fuck up? And I was Christian at that time, right? So I was like, I don't know what to do because I'm like, I can't hate you because Jesus said don't hate. But you're making fun of my accent, you stupid bitch. I don't like people making fun of my accent. And she was laughing. And what I hated was the fact that my teacher like told me to read out loud, but he wouldn't tell her to shut the fuck up. Sorry, trauma. I was like, yo, like, how you letting this stupid ass girl laugh at my accent when I'm reading? Like, what the fuck you think I was gonna do? And nothing happened. But I think back, I'm like, yo, that girl, looking back at it, I'm like, that girl is so insecure. How you making fun of a dude who's trying to learn your dumbass language and he's doing it? You don't even know a language for you to be laughing. Why are you laughing? What's your language? To this day, I thought of that teacher. I was like, yo, in my mind, I was like, yo, you a bitch. You a bitch. You are a bitch teacher. Bitch made teacher, man. Crazy shit, man. You'd be surprised how many people laugh at your accent when you're like, in the crazy thing that only happens in the United States. You in other countries, when you try to learn their language, they don't make fun of you. Only in America do Americans laugh at you trying to learn their stupid ass language, man. Anyways, man, this is it for today, people. Turn into a rant. So yeah, let me know if you guys enjoy me reading these Reddit stories, man. Bye.